time for an update on the testing of this little guy, and then we'll go outside and talk through dimensions and plans for the actual cooler. We're in the office just doing some testing right now. Check the previous video linked below for the intro and what's going on. But I plugged this guy in, got it all configured. Super simple. I gotta say, whoever writes these instructions and maintains them over at Coolbot, thank you. The process nerd in me was super ecstatic because everything's in here. I had one issue, and I think it's because I was impatient. During the process of connecting this to the Wi-Fi, you have to wait for a page to load on your browser, and I think I just got a little too fast and tried to finish before it was done, or maybe it just had a hiccup. I don't know. I'll take the blame because I feel like I moved a little too fast. But when I went through just that little snippet again, connected right away, off and running. So this whole thing was probably set up, plugged in maybe 30 minutes. And that was just reading through, taking my time, making sure I didn't mess anything up. Connecting it to the AC was super simple. All of this, very, very simple, straightforward. This, super easy to use. It's set to 55. I'll talk about that in a moment. Super simple to adjust here. I can have it go up, go down, and I had it set to 53. I turned the AC off and the fan off so that you can hear me talking. But very simple and straightforward to adjust it. In the app that runs on the phone through a browser, I don't know if there's an app yet. I haven't checked on that yet, an app inherent on the phone. But through the browser, adjusting this and seeing what's going on with it, super simple. That allowed me to make sure that overnight, get the data from that, see how it was going. Everything was working great. My initial test was at 63 degrees, just to get everything squared away. When I've been here in the office, I have adjusted and played with lowering it down. And so just to play around, I set it to 53. It's been doing fine. I went to 50 and the fins got a little cold, and it just wasn't worth messing with for today. So I turned it back up. I'm going to set this back to 55 for today. It's been running really well. Again, it's cool outside, and this room doesn't need to get down to cooler temp of 40 to 45 degrees. And so the insulation in this room is not appropriate, but what I'm doing is just testing this, getting familiar with the app, making sure that I know what I'm doing whenever I get to the real cooler and need it out there. So I think that's everything for in here. All the cords and everything came with it. This is not the final resting place, right? So it's temporary right here, sitting here. I've got the temperature probe hanging on my handy dandy screwdriver there. All that will be permanent in the actual cooler room. This is just for me getting familiar with the device itself. I did test adjusting the temperature using the app. That was quick, simple. It does auto adjust the defrost too, should that become necessary. So I've been pretty impressed with that so far. And the temp is on. So I have a sensor push in here that monitors the temp as well. And this and the sensor push are both in line. So I think that everything is working pretty well. But I'm going to power the AC back on, and then we'll go outside and talk through plans for the cooler build. And here we are outside. So just to orient you, that is the office, which is what was behind me as I was in there. That's the office wall on the east side. And then that back wall is the insect room where the mealworms are. And so what I did this afternoon is I cleaned this up and then started laying out trays to try to get a footprint of what I want to build here. Using the installation instructions and the insulation information on the Coolbot website, that was super helpful to help get some variables out of the way. So I need R25. There's various ways to get to that point with different options, which they detail out. It's fantastic. And so what I'm going to do, I'm familiar with the XPS, the 2-inch rigid foam. I use that in the mealworm room. So I'm going to use that as my base, and because of an environment issue that I'm going to walk through. And so my plan right now is, in a max scenario, like I'm planning to not have this many mealworms in this cooler, and I do need space for packages as well. But what I'm going to do is I've got four on that side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 go in a different direction, then 2 more here. And so we've got 12 total stacks, and potentially, what did that end up being? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm going 15 high. I didn't take that one. There's one that needs to come off of there. That's a lot of trays of mealworms. And so that's packed to the gills. I don't think that's a good idea, honestly. Remember, I'm going to have an AC unit somewhere in here. And so there's going to be some area up top where I won't have trays. So I'm probably only going to get away with 10 high of the trays, just so air is moving around in there and everything's okay. But that should be probably as big as I'm going to go. But let's just look at where I'm at now. So right now I'm coming out to this board as the outside wall. And so ignore the bad insulation, it's going to go away. So the wall will be right there going up, and then I'll have another wall going that way straight to the existing wall. I might go one more this way, one more tray's width this way. That fridge right there is going to go, and so I don't need space for it anymore. And it just becomes a scenario of how close do I want to get to that door that we go in and out of quite a bit, because that is going to come all the way out to here. And I need it to come out to there, or stop there rather, because I want to be able to get to the garage door. Currently my lock is over there. I can always move the lock to behind me if I wanted to, but I would just want to be able to access all of that for any reason. And then from a height perspective, again, stopping where I'm at, because I just want to have access to the door up there. Obviously it needs to open, but if I have to get up there and do anything with the door, having some space to do that's going to be beneficial. I'm probably cutting it pretty close anyway, but I'm going to stay a foot away from the door. I'll do the same insulation on the ceiling. I'll do the 2-inch rigid foam, and then spray foam is my plan for the interior. And so what I'll do, we're starting to get into winter and colder temps, and so then you get into the curing of the foam in cold temperatures. It can be problematic, and so my plan is to build out these 2 walls here and that ceiling, and then put the rigid foam on the outside, tape that up, spray foam the bottom on a warm day, warm morning, potentially put heat on it if I have to. Hopefully I can get it done before that. And then the interior, I'll have a door. I'll put a door in where these 2 big stacks are, put a door there, and then I can open that and let the ambient temperature come in, which is in that room there is 80 degrees. And so it'll come in, warm that area. And then when I do the spray foam, or when I have somebody do the spray foam, what I looked at from a calculation perspective, a couple of recommendations from the Coolbot website. The closed cell will get me 22.5 in a 3.5 inch space, and so that's what these are 2x4 walls, so 3.5 inches of space. And then with the boards on the outside of that, we'll just spray directly to that XPS, to that rigid board. That bad insulation is going to go away. There is already 2-inch rigid foam behind that, from our perspective, behind that, that makes the wall in the insect room there. And so that can just come out and then spray. That I need to do some more research on. So when that bad insulation comes out, it's drywall. And I'm pretty confident we can just spray onto the drywall. But I'm going to get a quote from, there's a local spray foam insulation company, Nemo, Women Backwards, that I will reach out to and see, maybe this is too small of a job. I honestly don't know, but I'll just get a couple quotes and ask some questions and make sure everything's okay. But I think that's the plan for right now. The air conditioner is going to be mounted, more than likely it's going to have to go on this wall. And so the AC will be mounted on this wall, because if I put it here on this wall, I start running into how far out is it going to go. I don't want to run into it with my head whenever I have to walk through here. And so I think what I'm going to do is probably mount it on this wall here. Sorry, some loud noise there. And so the AC unit will be out this way. I'll run power to it from above, come down that wall probably, and then over. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'll need a light in there. I'll probably try to get fancy and put a switch in the door, so when the door opens, the light comes on. Otherwise, we won't need light in this room. And that's the plan for now. One of the potential thoughts I have is I don't know how cold this floor is going to get in the wintertime. So in the winter, I'm curious to see what happens if I have to add any heat, or if the mealworms are going to generate enough. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But one of the things I could potentially do is put some rigid foam on the concrete here, secure it down, get the stuff that's real dense. I think it's the 250, 150. I can't remember. There's an option there that is used underground, and I think that I could use that there as well. But I'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'll just monitor the temperature over the winter time and see how it's doing. But that's the current plan. So I'm curious what you guys think. If you have any recommendations, suggestions, things you would not do if this plan is crazy and doesn't sound like it's going to work. But that is the current status. So I need to get a couple quotes from folks. Probably do that before I start building, just to make sure if there's anything I need to change or do, I can integrate that in with their expertise, and we'll go from there.